This video is to go over the Got It number 1 in the Chapter 6 lesson on solving systems in the real world. Make sure you've tried the problem before you go over this video. That way you know if you understand it or not. Let's look at our problem. Two buildings in an apartment complex, Building A and Building B, have a total of 120 apartments. The difference in the number of apartments between the two buildings is 16 apartments. How many apartments does each building have? All right, so we're thinking about what is our variable going to be? What is the thing that we don't know? And that is they're asking us how many apartments does each building have? Each meaning both Building A and Building B. We don't know how many apartments they have. They're asking us how many apartments do they have. So let's label A as our variable for the number of apartments in Building A. And then B is going to be the number of apartments in Building B. Okay, we had to label our variables. All right, now we need our system of equations, and we can get that by looking back at our sentences in our real-world problem. Let's read the first one and get an equation for it. Two buildings in an apartment complex, Building A and Building B, have a total of 120 apartments. That word total means you add. Okay, like if you go to the store and you buy a couple things, the total is when you add the things together. All right, and it says that the total in the two buildings, Building A and Building B, is 120 apartments. So if we take the number of apartments in Building A and we add them to the number of apartments in Building B, the total is 120 apartments. So there's my first equation in my system. Okay. Then let's read the second sentence. The difference in the number of apartments between the two buildings is 16. The word difference, like we said in our example, means to subtract. Okay, so basically what that's saying is when you subtract the number of apartments in Building A, so A minus B, they said the difference is 16 apartments, so it equals 16. Okay, now we have to figure out how we're going to solve the system of equations. Are we going to use addition or subtraction here? You can actually use both, because remember, subtraction you would use if you have two of the same term and they both have an A, a positive A. And addition you would use if you have opposite or additive inverses. And the B terms are additive inverses because we have a positive B and a negative B. I'm going to use addition because I think addition is easier. So I'm going to circle my additive inverses, and if I were to add these two equations, the B's are going to cancel out because they're opposite terms. They're additive inverses. So we have an A plus an A is 2A. The B's cancel out. And it equals, we have 120 plus 16 is 136. Okay, now that's good we used addition because now we're down to one equation with only one type of variable. So we divide by 2 on both sides. And we have that A, because the 2's cancel out, A equals 68. 136 divided by 2 is 68. So we just figured out, well, what does A represent? Let's go back up here. Since it's a word problem, we want to write it in words. That A is the number of apartments in Building A. We just figured out that there are 68. There are 68 apartments in Building A. Okay, but we still have to figure out how many apartments are in building B. And the way that we do that, remember, the way that we solve for the other variable is we take one of the equations. I'm going to use the first equation because it's adding a plus b equals 120. And we just found out that a equals 68. So we're going to plug in 68 for a and then solve for b. So we have 68 plus b equals 120. Then you're going to subtract 68 from both sides. And we have b equals 120 minus 68 is 52. So we just figured out that b equals 52. Well, let's remember what b represents. It represents the number of apartments in building B. So the last thing you want to write is that what this means is there are 52 apartments in building B. Okay. Now you want to go on to example number 2 and take notes.